Hello, guys. Thanks for joining us this evening. Uh, Tonight, we're going to be talking to some of the clubs around the UK, all over the place, around the south, up around the Midlands, North, Leeds, Huddersfield, and Essex, London. Just going to be getting some feedback from each of them about their clubs or the involvement. Some club owners, some club managers, a couple of guys who are affiliated with the clubs who have a lot to do with the events and exhibitions in the clubs and what have you. We're just going to have a little discussion about the snooker scene and within the clubs. And we're going to be, this evening is going to be co-hosted with Michael Waring from Snooker Club UK. Michael, as most of you should know, he's probably got a very good website and Facebook page, whereas he advertises your events, and he's a very good platform for advertising in any way, whatever you've got going, whether it's results, competitions, events, anything really, promotional club events, anything like that there that you wish to get involved in. And he also obviously has that network link, that Club Finder, as it's called, Club Finder, and he wants to get you all together basically on there, so you can list your competitions and your events and what have you, and very much get involved, But I'm going to be bringing Michael in just a wee second. Actually, you'll have to forgive him; he's a little bit old. It takes him a bit of time, They're not all as young as me. Not much we can do about that. So we're going to bring the chaps in one at a time. We'll have a little chat with Michael shortly about what he does for the clubs. But yeah, that's mainly what we're doing here this evening. It's trying to do some midweek videos or discussions or chats about various different things, and in the coming weeks we will be focusing on other aspects of the game or environments, refereeing, coaching. We're going to do a little piece on tables and shoes, table fitting. We're going to speak to some table fitters that go around the country and do their bit. We've got some video stuff, some video material we're going to bring up on there too. And I think, the whole idea of what we're doing here is to just generally create a better environment for snooker, for amateur snooker within the clubs, within the club scene. And I think, look, we're just about to get out of this mess, And when we do, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough for a few months for clubs to set themselves up, rebuild, and just restructure themselves in that sense. And that is going to take a bit of time. And we're also going to be talking about things like that too. Guys, and just before I bring Michael in, this is the first time that we're live on YouTube. Okay, it's a great environment. It's the best for what we're doing. And I need you to subscribe to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button, and then I'll feel a little bit I'll feel a little bit more comfortable being on here. So anyway, I'm just going to bring Michael in here for a second. Okay, Michael Warren, good evening. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm in colour this time.
Michael, that image you gave black and white was very ghostly and very frightening. It was so frightening. They scared the crap out of my cats. They went straight out of the cat flap. They were scared. They never came back for 4 days.
Just on a Zoom call with the grandchildren, and they'll never be the same.
No, they won't. I'll try and keep you on here as short as possible.
Yeah.
Anyway, Michael, I'm just telling the guys here who have joined us.
Mm-hmm.
We're just waiting for some people to join us, and I was just explaining to them what you do. I'm kind of hoping that just before we go on here, I'm kind of hoping that the link is done here. Probably, as I say, it's the first time I've done a live video on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm not sure I've actually put the right link, so we could be alone all evening. Could be alone all evening. But all the club guys are fine. I've tested their connection, so they'll be joining us very gradually, and we'll be pretty much asking and seeing stuff about where their clubs are at and what have you. But I have explained to everybody, Michael, what you do, what you're doing on the website and the Facebook page, and what we're, in terms of what clubs can do. They can come to you, they can advertise for free. They can obviously register as a club on your, club finder link database, and also they can advertise their exhibitions, competitions, events, anything basically that the snooker environment is doing.
Yeah. I can. Each club will have their own dedicated page. There's one or two on there now that are maybe just a bit like test pages. But as the clubs talk to me, tell me exactly what they want on there, I can put it on within reason. I can't, we can't do a full-blown website, but most clubs have got their own website, or they use Facebook. But Facebook is just going to be swamped when this mess is over. It's going to hit everybody. And how can people find anything on Facebook is going to be really difficult. So if there's a snooker player who wants to know something, Facebook is going to be possible, but why not have something that's just dedicated to snooker and it's just all about snooker? And I can get to people in other ways other than through Facebook, through the normal search engine optimization things. We can use all those techniques so that anybody who's talking about snooker will actually find Snooker Hub, will come onto there, will find the clubs, they'll see what's going on, and hopefully visit the club and play snooker there. And that's what we want, isn't it? And to build up the competitions, to build up the league teams, because league snooker is suffering, and build up the kids clubs, the coaching, everything. And I work alongside the 147 team, the Bob Hill. So there's the 147 clubs, obviously, but I can deal with all clubs, not just the 147 ones. So I'm not tied to that. I will, I think the 147 club thing is good for those that want to do it, but if there's some that don't want to do it, well, that's fine. That's up to them, and it's not up to me to say whether they should do it or not. But I can work with it always, and we can just to help the clubs get people in there. And there's lots and lots of ways we can do that.
That's great opportunities there for all the clubs. Right, I'm going to introduce a gentleman called David Grace. David, as most of you will know, is a tour professional. And David is very closely associated with the Northern Snooker Centre. Probably the best club, I would say, in the UK in that respect. Hi David, how you doing?
Hi guys, you all right?
Hi David.
Thanks very much for joining us, mate. We're starting.
Just let me hijack him here for a minute. Dave Grace, you might not remember this, but back in 2015, when I first thought about starting the Snooker Hub, you were the first person I asked about it.
All right.
You were the very, very first person. And then I spoke to Peter. I can't remember whether it was a phone call or a text, but because of the positive reaction I got from you and Peter, that's why I started it. That's why I did it, because of the positive reaction I got from you. But you probably don't remember that. It's probably just a small thing, but it stuck in my mind that two well-respected people in snooker, were actually in agreement with it, and that gave me kind of the motivation, if you like, to get on with it and do it. And it has grown quite a lot since then. It takes up a lot of my time, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, it's a good idea. A good idea is always a goer, isn't it?
Yeah.
David, thanks for coming on. David, what is your it's great to have a professional associated with any club. It does nothing but promote the club. I hold the club in a high regard, Obviously I'm miles and miles away, right down here in the south near Gatwick Airport. But I mean, the club has a great reputation. I deal with players all the time who complain about tables, complain about clubs. Very few of them complain about, the Northern Snooker Centre. Tell us, what is your association with the club, and when did it start, and how do you help them? What do you do for them?
Yeah, so basically, it's the first club I ever set foot in. It's just pure coincidence, really. Obviously, I'm from Leeds. We looked up snooker clubs after I started playing on the small table at home, and that was the first one that came up. So we went in there. But the first time I ever went in, they used to have a smaller table, like probably 6 foot or 8 foot snooker table. And we played on that first time, but I was itching to get on the full size. I was only 10. I was only small, not as big as I am now. But yeah, just ever since been going in, and then progressed to working there and helping him run tournaments, and obviously being one of the club pros.
And what is your role in the club? How do you actually do you work in the club, or do you stand as competitions or practice, or is it much more?
Yeah, I clean the tables on a morning, Monday to Friday. So that I think while ever I've been there, anyway, they've always had myself, Pete Lyons, Sanderson Lamb does them now. They've always had snooker players involved in looking after the tables because they've got a vested interest. If it was, to some other people, it might just be a job going in and cleaning tables, but to us, obviously it's a passion, and we want the best conditions possible for everyone, so that helps.
And just there's yourself, and you mentioned Sanderson there.
Yeah.
And is it Peter? Is it Peter and Ollie?
Yeah.
Is it just the four of you, or is there any others?
At the moment, obviously, not at the moment, but Andy Lee was playing there. He's a pro as well, but he lives in Hong Kong, but he bases himself in Leeds when he's over on the tour. And then we sometimes have we have the ladies' championships there, so Onyi and some of the Hong Kong lady players will come over and base themselves there. So yeah, we get a good mixture really.
So you've got this is what I love. This is pretty much where clubs are going these days. Established clubs that have quality tables, where the players have their own tables in the club. So do you actually have your own tables in the club?
Yeah, not as much ours, but the one table that we generally stick to, and then we just make do with what we can.
And how many tables are actually in the club?
They've got 27 snooker.
Wow.
And 20 odd pool tables as well, so it's a big club.
And is it important to use? Obviously there's club tables that players would play on a daily basis, and that will have probably a reflection on the type of cloth that are put on those tables. But are they like really kept up to date? Are they good enough? Do you have how many tables, say, would you use, say, for Challenge Tour or a Pro-Am?
We have different numbers for whatever type of tournament we run. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. We have basically a match arena in the middle with a star table in, and then we have 5 or 6 match tables all around the top of that. And that was how the club was when it opened. They had 9 tables. And over time, it's grown. They've had an extension on the back. There's another 10 tables in there. Another extension on the side. Another 10 tables up there. So that's how we've ended up with the 27.
And in terms of membership, the club. I can only imagine that the club has a massive membership. Have you got a rough idea what the membership is?
I couldn't tell you. I think it'd be probably upwards of 10,000.
Wow, fantastic.
It's always been very affordable. They've kept the membership prices low. It's still only £6 a year to be a member, and in that way, they can encourage people to be members, and therefore, use the membership i.e. come in.
I'm glad you touched on that, David, because that's one of the things that clubs are sort of looking at all the time. They're looking at subscriptions, and obviously things like subscriptions, promotional things like maybe day memberships or day rates for members playing on the tables. Is that something that the club encourages?
Yeah, they're always trying to think of something or other. For as long as I can remember, it's always been half price if you play on your own. So obviously that's a nice offer for even if you just want to come in and practice on your own.
That's like the solo rate. Yeah.
Sorry?
It's like the solo rate.
Yeah, half price if you play
Right.
on your own. And then obviously recently there's been we have OAP Tuesdays, Student Wednesdays where they get it half price, and they've seen a massive increase in people coming in on those days.
Can I
Put yourself in there, Michael? Put yourself in there.
Yeah, I just wanted to. A friend of mine who runs another website, Snooker Zone. You might see he does reviews on equipment tips and stuff, talks to coaches and things like that. Chris Gaynor, he one of the things he suggested, it just made me think about this now. I've never seen it at any club. Kind of a loyalty scheme, like you get your Tesco club card and all that kind of stuff. Where say if you've been for 20 hours, you get another hour free or something like that. Have they ever thought of doing anything like that there?
Yeah, they actually do one at the moment. That's come in the last couple of years. You get a stamp every visit. You get a stamp. I think it's 6 stamps, and you get a free hour. So again, that encourages people to come.
Do you not wash your hands though?
Got a little book.
Right, so it's like, it's a good idea though, isn't it? That it encourages you to come more, so that you get something for it at the end.
Definitely.
Some rewarding that loyalty. Yeah. I don't think many clubs do that. I've never seen anybody do that. I've never.
There's not that many that do.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of thing that I would advertise like for the Northern. I would put that on on the site, loyalty scheme available, and it just makes people think, giving you something back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a good idea, really, isn't it?
I think it's, just getting back to subscriptions again. I think, David, I don't know what your view is on this, but do you think it's important to keep annual subscriptions low?
Yeah, definitely.
And why do you think that's important?
Well, I just think it encourages people to do it. I mean, you'd be amazed how many people, because I did the odd shift working on the door, taking memberships and that when at busier times, years and years ago. But it was amazing how many people would come in and they'd be trying to dodge it and saying, "Oh, I'm a member, but I forgot my card," and this, that, and the other. And well, all right, mate, you just have to pay £1 today, or you'll get it back next time you come. Because they obviously do a day membership rate for £1 as well. But if you're going to pay £1, you may as well pay the £6 and become a full member. And they do voucher books where you get half price likes and percentages off, and percentages off queues that you can buy. So every reason to be a member, and once you've got a membership, you've got more chance of coming in the club.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Very good point there, man. I mean, I encourage even the London clubs to keep their subscriptions down. I'm not going to mention the clubs because it's quite personal, but some of the very busy central London clubs are in and around the area tend to be looking at charging a high subscription. Between sort of 30 and 40 and £50 a year, or for life. They call it like a life membership, but that doesn't always seem to work. One of my local clubs in Brighton, the guys who were running that club maybe a few years ago, maybe about six years ago, had 16 tables. There was nothing in there but a bar. Very unsuccessfully run, which is probably why it declined, and obviously the guys left. And then obviously 2 colleagues of mine came in and turned it around, turned it into a sports bar, removed most of the tables upstairs, kept 8 tables downstairs, created a pool area upstairs. Very successful, on a bar, overnight success, massively. But at that time, the club was charging £10 for life membership. Now that current club now is charging that membership fee per annum. And they're getting the members. I mean, they've probably got around about 3,000 members, but I mean, it's a very busy club. It's a much, much smaller club than yours, by the way, David, but
yeah.
It's just something for the clubs to be aware of. They need to be very, very careful with things like annual subscriptions and that, or life memberships. Do you think it's better, David, to charge per annum for a membership?
Well, I've only played at this one club ever really, so they used to have there was another club actually in the same family called the Excelsior. It was also in Leeds, and if you were a member of one, you were a member of the other. So that kind of gave choice to either club, and it ended up closing in the end a few years ago. But yeah, like I say, it's only ever been £6 for adults for the year. And the way I see it, you're saying, if it's £30, £40, for the year, if you rock up and you just fancy a game of snooker, are you really going to pay that £30, £40 on top of whatever it costs you on the day? It's just not going to happen, is it? You're going to put a lot of people off.
I think that's the point there. What's your take on there, Michael?
You can look at that. You can think say £5 or £6, and you're talking like thousands of members. £50,000-60,000 almost guaranteed as an income is a good start, isn't it? For any club, it's got to be there. You're kind of banking on that, and then you can run from there. Because there must be quite a lot of staff there at the Northern, because you've got all the kitchen, because the food's good, isn't it? I mean, you can go and spend all day there, and you can eat properly. It's decent food. It's not just a chicken burger, is it? You know what I mean? And it's good food, and there's a lot of staff there. So, to have a regular income like that, they must rely on that to a large extent. Does it cover the pool as well?
Yeah. If you remember one, you remember the whole building.
It's all about bringing bodies back into the club, really. Essentially, for me, if I was opening a club, if I was opening a snooker club, for me it would be loyalty. It's all about loyalty. It's about building a relationship with members, and it's about bringing them into the club. And it's more important for me to charge them less money and get them to come back into the club every week. Because David, you will have seen this time and time again. The same guys coming in the club every week, spend all evening in the club, have a game of snooker. Doesn't matter about their ability. They just come in and spend the whole evening playing snooker, have a few beers, and then go back and book the table for next week. And it might be 2 of them, it might be 4 of them, or whatever. And I see it all the time. And actually, I get down to the local club that I get down to, and I see those, groups of 4 on the table twice a week between 7 and 11 o'clock at night, having a game of doubles or whatever, and spending money behind the bar. That's what it's about. And then you've got probably the more serious snooker players and the guys that'll want to come in and take advantage of the day rate or the solo rate. They'll come in there, they'll play solo snooker, they'll meet their friends, they'll try and save a bit of money. And it works 2 ways. Would you not agree, Dave?
Well, yeah, we kind of, like you say, I'm in during the day. I'm in first thing in the morning, so I see, we always have older gentlemen will come in, first thing in the morning. They like to play, and then can be busy all through the afternoon. Like I say, on a Wednesday, it's full. Absolutely, we have the back room. We have 10 or 12 tables going with students. We have like snooker society from Leeds University.
Mm-hmm.
But then on a night, it's a completely different crowd again. Like you say, there's people, coming in, and having a few drinks and that. So we try and cater for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the future, Dave, where's the club going? What's it sort of? I know we're on lockdown and there's not very much we can do at the minute, but has that given the club an opportunity to have a look at things?
They never ever stop thinking of ways that can improve it and reinvest into the business. It's the essential layout of the club is the same as the day I walked in, apart from, like I say, the small tables is where I played is a pool table now. But in general, where the snooker tables are hasn't changed. But they've upgraded the lighting. They've had all the table. They keep the tables immaculate, all year round basically. I know some clubs like to put the money into the match tables and then maybe leave some of the others. Well, we don't. We keep every table as good as we can possibly keep it. And that means that whenever you come in, whatever there's no, obviously people have the favourites, but whatever table you get put on, you're not having a below par snooker experience.
Are they mostly names with match? Say on most of the tables.
They have been recently. We've just started putting 6, 8, 11s on some of them.
Good cloth.
And,
I like that.
we use Hainsworth Smart on some of the others.
Yeah.
They're both very good cloths. I think in terms of affordability, they're quite similar in price. David, I think, am I right?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. So
No,
I don't.
There's not
do you know what?
a difference between Smart and Match and 6, 8, 11. There's not a lot of difference. Obviously, jumps up a bit for number 10, but you got to change that too often, don't you? It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
we've never really had much of a number 10 on, because, like I say, they get a lot of hammer in the club, and I don't think that they're not built on.
You can't throw them out on a large scale. Really, it's like throwing money down the toilet. Now, smart cloth and 6811. I'm very impressed. Some players don't like 6811, but for a club cloth, it's good. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but if World Snooker come to and they're going to hold a Challenge Tour event, they'll put 6811 on the tables.
Yeah, that's what they use. Yeah.
So it's a good cloth. I know that some of the clubs weren't impressed with it. I don't know why. Don't know why they wouldn't be, because it's a good cloth for pro-am snooker players.
As long as you keep it clean and ironed and brushed and everything, it's fine, and it lasts a long time. I mean, even like Hainsworth Match, it loses after. You're not going to get 12 months out of a match at the Northern. You get a good 12 months out of 6, 8, 11, surely, as long as you're brushing and ironing it pretty regularly. Nothing wrong. And it's constant, isn't it? It doesn't change that much. So, decent cloth.
The other, just before I go on, I want to talk about, just before we get off here with you, Dave, but just want to talk about the kids coming into the clubs, trying to get kids coming back in. I mean, I'm old school, Dave. Believe it or not, I know I don't look as old as Michael there, but I'm actually in my 50s, and I remember the days. I remember when I was about 9 years old, my dad took me into a working men's club. And I was a cocky wee git, by the way, Dave. I haven't changed much, still got all that, So I go into this place and I'm looking at this billiards table in there, there's cigarette smoke all over the place, There's all these men arguing over money over a poker table, and I'm starting to take the balls out and throw them up and down the table. And I'm thinking, those days are gone, because that was the beginning for me. I just kept going, Dad, I want to play. I want to play on that table. I'm like, okay. And I wasn't tall enough to reach over the table, but that was the beginning for me of snooker. But in those days, Dave, I mean, you're a young guy still. In those days, it was like 4 TV channels. There was no mobile phones. There was no video games, unless you had a lot of money, and so there was no social media. So kids would come into a club, a snooker club, or a social club, or a working men's club, and they'd look around and they'd say, wow, look at that big green table. I want to play on it. There's no distractions. So that's the past. So, David, how are we going to get the kids back into the snooker clubs? What do we need to do?
It's a good question, and I'm not sure. It's not a simple answer, because those things are always going to be there now. That's how the world is now. Everybody's got a PlayStation. Everybody's got a mobile phone. And your mobile phone is so all-consuming, and it can be. I have it myself. When you find yourself looking at it just on a 30-second basis throughout the whole day sometimes. But that's the trouble. The best thing to advise for any young kids that are serious about snooker is just switch your phone off. Just leave it at home, or just switch it off and just concentrate on what you're doing, because it is easy to get sucked into. I'm not naming any names, but I've seen players they'll go into the phone in between shots, and how can they be concentrating on the game? And I'm talking about good players here as well. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. Michael, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, there is. You probably know Danny Connolly.
Yeah.
And they do something where they go into schools. They take the things into schools, and Chris Lovell does it with the WPBSA. They do something cues on into schools or something. I think it's it's mainly probably difficult to get the kids into clubs now. So, and this is another thing that Chris Gaynor's really keen on. Is getting the snooker into the schools. You can get the little tables. We had there was a bit of a movement with the WPBSA a bit ago to get the little star tables and get them out into like shopping centres, sports centres, take them into schools and let the kids play these games, these maths games and all that kind of stuff to try and get them hooked into snooker. But then you need to follow that on, and the clubs need to do a bit more, bite the bullet a bit and get the kids clubs back in. But you need a coach, you need a whatever they call it, the CRB check things these days. You need to do all that, but I think that's the the grassroots. You've got to get these kids clubs back in. Saturday morning kids clubs.
That's starting to work, Michael. I mean, Brighton Club are doing that very successfully. I mean, the juniors, they call them the Brighton Juniors, where it started off where, I mean, I was going to do it for a while, but those kids drive me mad, mate. My patience is, but I mean, Brighton has started something very, very good called Brighton Castle Juniors. And it started off once a week, every Saturday, between 10 and 11, to bring the kids in. And, even the coach doesn't have to be a great player. You can just show them the basic shots and then just let them come in and have a few practice shots, replay some of the shots and build it up that way. And that seems to be working. Is that, David, is that something that you're doing, or?
Yes, exactly the same. We've had it ever since I was a kid. Like I say, I first started playing with my dad, just me and him. But once I got a bit good for him, he wanted to get me into competition and stuff. And the best place to start for any kids around Leeds, Saturday morning, like I say, it's 10 till half 11, and it's always been affordable. It used to be £2-3 quid. I think it might be a £5 now, but it's still for an hour and a half. And compared to what that costs you at the bowling alley or wherever else, it's still very, very affordable. And the coach Ian Williamson runs it. They have leagues. And that's where I started. That's where Oliver Lyons has come through that. Sanderson Lamb, and we've got some great juniors now that are doing well in the EPSB tournaments. So it's a good structure, that.
Yeah, you got the ball. What have you got? Like Kev's doing it at levels. He's got the Huddersfield Hot Shots or something, I think they call it. Neil Johnson over at Scotty's in Liverpool. He's got a big one, hasn't he, down there? There are clubs doing it. I think more clubs need to, instead of saying, "Oh, kids don't come in anymore," you've got to find out how to get to them. I mean, a lot of kids they're moving away from Facebook. They're more onto TikTok and whatever it's called, and Instagram and all sorts. They're all that kind of stuff. So
TikTok. Oh, don't start on that TikTok, Michael. By the way, you're way, way, way too old for that. Okay?
If I just bounce up and down, do I end up in a nice shirt?
I don't know. Somebody told me it's very good for getting a sponsor. No, it's not. It's not very good. I mean, maybe I'm just getting too old. I don't know. I just want to play snooker. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Listen, I can't talk. I'm obsessed with TikTok since lockdown. I'm just making daft videos. Mainly just me and the cat.
Listen, you're still young. You might be a little bit grey, but you're still young.
I've seen you trying the 5 cushions from black to yellow. Didn't work.
You like that one?
But we've got to get the kids away from that onto snooker. And I think this, the Challenge League thing is a good opportunity, isn't it? To, on ITV4, it's got to be advertised somehow and get the people watching it. And if it works right, there might be, like Mark Selby was saying, there's a kind of a new audience there waiting. There's hopefully, maybe even bring some of the old guys back. Rekindle their interest, if you like. So.
The thing is, snooker is a great game, and the people that love it. Yeah. And the people that don't, just don't. If you don't get it, you don't get it. There's some of these people that are saying snooker's boring and it's only worth watching when Ronnie's playing, and you're just never going to win those people over, unfortunately. But enough people love the game, and it is so addictive. Like you say, taking those small tables into schools, if you can get, out of a class of 20, if you can get 4 or 5 of them hooked on snooker, it's just addictive. And then they will, eventually they will find clubs because they'll want to play a proper snooker.
Yeah, they'll use Snooker Club and they'll find a club.
Yeah.
So,
Right now, look, I'm just going to move you along very shortly there, David. I'm going to get rid of you in a minute. Just before you go, okay? I'm going to ask you what are you looking forward to? Tell us, is there any plans the club has ahead here? What's the plans for the future with the club?
It's difficult to say at the moment, isn't it? The provisional opening date for clubs and that is July the 4th. Mm-hmm. I know that WPBSA is working really hard trying to get clubs open before that as a sporting facility, possibly without bars and things like that. So until then, there's not a lot we can do. We're just keeping it, keeping the facilities ticking over. We're spending a lot of money on the tables at the moment, making recovering a lot of tables so that when we are ready to open, we can say, wow, we're here and we're ready, and we want you to start enjoying snooker again.
And I think Michael will probably agree with me on this. I mean, at the moment, obviously your club is probably the best setup at the moment in terms of everything. It's moving ahead. It keeps moving ahead all the time, and to have 3 or 4 professional snooker players there based there. Just completely pushes the club forward in many respects, and I think there's a lot of good things are going to happen here. David, thanks very much for joining us. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to get Paul Rinaldi in. Paul's just about to open a new club. David, carry on listening, please, if you will. Anything you want to send in, mate, and I will look forward to seeing you at the tournaments, mate, and good luck to you anyway for whatever's left of this season. World Championship qualifiers, they will go ahead, probably behind closed doors, but it looks like they're going to happen. David, I look forward to seeing you there, mate, and watching you, and I hope you play well. Okay?
Thank you. See you later.
All right, good to see you. Speak to you again soon. All right, buddy, take it easy. Right, I'm just going to bring Paul in here now. This get you in here. A little bit of a countdown there, Paul. Paul Rinaldi, how are you?
I'm okay, yeah.
Right now, me and you have had a couple of wee chats on the phone there, Paul, obviously, and I know that your club is ready to open.
Yeah.
It's not the best of timings for anybody to open the club, but at least it gave you an opportunity to finish off the bits and pieces. Now, I believe your club is up in North Shields, just outside Newcastle upon Tyne.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Paul, and your club, and what's happening.
Well, my first club, I had 3 clubs in Lancashire, back from 2000 up till 2000 and whatever, 12, 13. And then I had a lot of young ones playing in them clubs, they're all the junior kids and that. And then obviously I sold it, and then I took coaching up for a few years, and I got sick of that. So I opened Whitley Bay Snooker Centre, and then I put 2 star tables in. I got Elliot Celeste, Gary Wilson, they were like regulars. David Lilly came over, John Astley, Sam Craig, they all played there, Good club, and I just needed a bigger place. I've been looking for a bigger place for a few years, and then we found this. And as soon as I went in, I kind of did a picture of it in my mind and where I could set it up, and it's like I say, it's nearly finished now. But who'd have thought this was going to happen?
What do you got there, Paul? How many tables you got?
I've got there's 12 full-size snooker tables with 4 star tables and 3 aristocrats. There's 2 small tables, a 9 foot and an 8 foot, 2 American 9 balls, and 8 pool tables.
So you've hit the sports bar theme, haven't you? You're hitting on the sports bar environment. Pool, snooker.
Yeah, I'm trying to do sports pool lounge downstairs with a couple of 4 snooker tables, 2 big and 2 small. So anybody playing down there, it's going to be a sports pool lounge. And then upstairs, I've got the 10 match tables that it's a fantastic setup. You know, if I went in that club anywhere in the country and I saw that, I'd think, wow, you know. So I'm really happy with what we've got together.
You're very impressed with your own club.
I just love snooker. Yeah, I am to be honest. I've been
You
telling
got the
about
pros in
snooker.
there. Are the professionals are going to play there, are they? Or,
Well, Elliot's the permanent pro there.
right.
Gary Wilson flees between Gateshead and my club, whichever suits his day, you know. But him and David Lilly share a table at Gateshead. So what they do, if David's at Gateshead, Gary will come down to mine and vice versa, and they come and play Elliot. And John Astley came in for a little practice the other day, you know. So just it's just a good venue for snooker players. You know, I've always wanted a venue like that, and I've got it.
So what do you want to do with it? How far do you want to push the club? Do you want to have everything there? Do you want competitions, exhibitions?
Yeah,
what do you want to do?
Yeah, I've spoken to Jason France about. Somebody tried to ring. Putting some senior events on. I'm going to do some big pro-ams. I'm going to do like £200 entry fees, 16 players all played on star tables. Put a £50 pro-am on. I do a weekly pro-am anyway, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a challenge, and I'm really up for it. I can't wait because I just want to push
You're talking to two right men. You're talking to the main man here, mate. When it comes to Snooker Hub and Pro Snooker UK, we'll give you all the help we're going to give you. And Michael, that shop in the middle there, Michael.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No,
You know,
I've touched base with Mick a few times and that, and he's just great for the game. You know, there's a few of us who are like Thoroughbreds, who just snookers in his veins, and whatever we can do to improve it or to do, anything to get people playing. It's just my personal opinion is if you have a snooker club and you put just normal bar staff in who work out of a pub, they don't know the difference in pool and snooker and darts and anything, people just have no interest. Where if you have, without sounding big-headed, like people like me or another ex-player or anybody who loves snooker, they can come in, you can help them with a game, you can talk to them about snooker, you can show them how to play. It's like what I call Steve Davis, the total package. And you have somebody like that, and they care about the place and they look after the tables.
Steve, are you talking about Steve Davis?
Oh, Al, he's
very dull. He's the dullest person I've ever met in my life. He's a good snooker player.
He's all right. No, he's a godfather to me, Davis. I love him.
But look, no, you just hit it on the head there, Paul, because we were just speaking to David Grace there.
Yeah, I saw that.
The Leeds Club, and it's all about bringing people into the club, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not about what you're charging them. If you can get these people to come into the club every week or every month and respect the club,
absolutely,
it's taking the membership money off them and is not the essential thing. So what are your views on subscriptions and membership fees and day rates and solo rate? What are your views on that?
Yeah, I think you've got to have, you've got to have a membership. I've got a membership system in this new club where it's £25 for a year for an adult membership. It's £30 for a family membership. That means any children under 18 with the parents. And then I've got an old age pensioners. It's either £10 or £15 for a year, and that saves anybody coming in and signing in. And if you come in and you're a member, you come in with a non-member, he has to sign in. Just to keep. It's a sports pool lounge, but there's lots of expensive equipment in there, and you get these young characters coming in. They treat everything with, they throw stuff around and that. And I always remember a story years ago. I went to a pro-am 30 odd years ago in Manchester, and I went in this club. I won't name it, and there's about 14 tables, and there were 3 rests and 3 triangles in the building. And I said to the guy who owned the club, I went, "Where's all triangles? They keep standing on them and breaking them." He said, "So when they've none left, I wonder what they're going to do." And I thought, well, what about your tables? What about, it's insane. And I kept thinking, why would you have a snooker club if you're not going to have nice tables?
Well, have you got you're setting up the cameras on each table, for things like streaming and that there.
Yeah,
That's something that the Brighton clubs incorporated. You can actually go to, if you know the manager of the club very well, he can actually download your match, and
yeah, I'm
send.
going to try and do
I
that.
mean,
Yeah,
you can charge for that, even if it's just a couple of quid, to put it on a stick. But I mean, that's a security thing as well, because you can see who's damaging the tables very, very quickly.
Yeah, I've got 12 cameras in there.
It
But
works very, very well.
To me, if you have a club, it's like having a cafe and selling crap food. Why would you sell crap food? People come in, they want a nice meal. And if people come in a snooker club, they want a nice table with pleasant surrounds, and they'll always come back.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's the clue's in the name, though, isn't it? It's a club.
Yeah.
It's not just a building, it's not just a pub, it's a club.
Yeah, absolutely,
Part of it. I mean, I've recently joined the Portland Snooker Club, but not.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I play now. And Gary and David came over for the first program we did, and David won it.
Yeah, he did.
And Gary had a 147 later on, just practicing, with some lads.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's a fantastic advert, and to have those guys. A number of people who said to me, well, where do these guys play? And I'm pointing them at yours all the time.
Yeah.
People are saying, where's the pro-am? There's always got one up there. It's not so far away. It's only an hour and a half away. And that's what it's about, isn't it? It's a regular thing with the same people, and people know each other, and they talk to each other. Like you said, going in Northern Snooker Centre, and you go in, and you're getting a beer off Sanderson Lamb, and you're thinking, I've just been watching him on telly.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Big part of it. It's a friendly atmosphere. Just like David mentioned earlier. It's and yourself there, Paul. It's good to have snooker orientated people actually working behind the bar, and actually running the club, because, in the past, with big clubs. I mean, I stopped playing snooker for 8 years, because it started boring the crap out of me. I just got all snooker players get phases like that. But see, when I came back and I started looking at the Riley clubs and some other clubs that weren't being run very well by they weren't snooker players. They were just sitting here. They were just sitting behind the bar and just reading the newspaper. Sorry. What do you want? What do you want? There's a bowl gone. Change the bowl. Okay. I mean, it's like, it's not friendly. You want somebody you can. Oh, hello. Have you played before? You want to join the club? Sorry, your membership is this how much a year. You can play this. You can do this. Bit of solo. These are the rates. What's your house break? A little bit of friendly thing, going on. So it needs snooker oriented people. And you want to have people like that in your club, or
no. I've got. I'm there 95% of the time anyway. But you get I went in a Riley's club years ago, and even the woman behind the counter couldn't even be bothered if I spoke to her or I didn't. There was no one in the club, and I looked round the club, and she gets a wage whether there's 10 in or 110 in, so it didn't make any difference to her. In the club, funny enough, that club shut down, and I bought the entire stock of the club a couple of years later, and that's what I'm using now. But I thought, why would you put anybody like that in a club? I mean, David does a fantastic job, doesn't he? Down at Leeds, I mean, he puts them pro-ams on. He's involved. Yeah, he does. And I mean, credit to the lad. He's a full-time player, and he's taking time out to do all that for other people. I mean, it's a thankless job, but you don't mind that because you love doing it yourself.
Pretty much for what it is. They're all chipping in.
Oh, you run
whatever the deal is, whatever the arrangement is. I mean, Paul, some players might come to you. Other professionals might come to you and say, look, let's have an arrangement. With a table, and you do the best. It has to be mutually beneficial, perhaps. And if that player has to do a little bit of work in the club and respect the club and help you in the club, then that's a good deal. Yeah. I can't think of anybody better to be at the reception of your snooker club than David Grace, or even a top young amateur snooker player who's playing on a college tour, or people are watching. I can't think of anybody better to actually have working in your club.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those guys, a lot of those young lads who are on the tour, maybe that bottom 32, they're not making any money anyway. They're not making a penny. They're relying on working in clubs and helping the clubs in that respect. They are.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, I had Cliff Thorburn over. He comes over regular, does Cliff, and I had Cliff Thorburn on one star table, and had Mark Selby playing Elliot Celeste on the other star table. And a guy walked in and he went, "In front of me here is my snooker history." He said Cliff Thorburn was the first player I saw win the World Championship, and Mark Selby was the last person I ever saw win it. He said, and to walk in a club and see these two, he was speechless, and that it's just great to see. It's just really good.
No, absolutely. So look, we're in lockdown at the moment, Paul. There's not very much you could do, but I'm really looking forward to this maybe popping up and seeing you. Look, myself and Michael are here to help you.
Brilliant,
so, in terms of competitions, if you need some help from my platforms with things like contacts and posters, I know you have a lot of contacts. You just have to let Michael know what you're doing. Put your post. It doesn't cost you a penny. If you go through Snooker Hub, as you probably already know, in terms of me, mate, just pick up the phone. And then we can just do a little poster, or we can share a poster for you.
Yeah. Michael said before, I sent him the information about doing the proms on Saturdays and that. But to be fair, it was a great club. But the venue, there were a few tables that were like restricted queuing and a bit awkward, a bit close together. But this place now is, there's a minimum of 6 and 7 foot between every table. So it's going to be great. It's exciting times.
That's a joy. I'm getting on. I'm coming up there now. Paul, I'm on the way.
Right.
I'll be there in about 5 hours. 7 feet.
Since before this lockdown thing, once this club, I'm going to be there on the day that you open that club. I'm going to be there.
I've got Dennis Taylor coming.
Oh, I'm not bothered then.
Listen, Dennis Taylor's very, very boring, Paul. Why don't you just invite me? All I want is 6 bottles of wine. That's all I want.
You and Dennis.
I'll make everybody laugh. Dennis Taylor's boring.
I rang him up the other day. He's been jet spraying his drive for 3 weeks. He's just fed up. So he says, I said, would you come up and open it? He said, I'd love to come up. I can't wait to come up,
I'll be
going to come up.
I'll be there.
Paul, thanks very much for joining us, buddy.
No bother.
I'm going to be keeping an eye on you, and I'm going to be coming up there, and we'll have a few drinks, and we'll talk about the club, getting very much involved. I'm looking forward to everything that you're going to do. So just keep in touch with myself and Michael.
I will.
Okay, and we'll take it right to the limit for you. Take it easy, buddy. Catch you later.
Cheers, Paul.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just about to try and bring in a couple of lads here. One of them has a little bit of a connection problem, but I'm going to try and bring JP in if I can find him. Tell you what, actually, Jason, if you can hear me, would you just come on in? You know what I mean? I know you're not a TV superstar or anything, but we're all getting used to all this social media and screens popping up there.
This is one place I'm desperate to go to JP's. I've been advertising his Friday night thing for ages and ages. Everything he does, I advertise, and I've never been, and I need to go to JP's.
I'm going to tell you something. Michael, about JP's. I spoke to Jason a couple of years ago, first time, and he says, Dave, I've only got a little club. I've only got a little club of 4/5 tables. I've got Riley's table in here, Riley's in, but it's not really big enough, I said, it's a very friendly club. I went into that club and I had a look around, and I'll be absolutely honest with you, Michael, I haven't felt more comfortable in a club. It is a small club with 5 tables, and the tables, you could say the tables are a little bit close together. Not enough to be a problem, but But I went into this club, and there was 4 tables surrounding area, and then one down the side. It's an old world championship table, by the way. You know, a Radio Aristocrat from 2000 and something. Can't remember, but it's a world final table. And then you had Ronnie's Radio Aristocrat in the corner. And then the other 3 tables, 2 of them are steel black old tables, just old club tables, but they are absolutely immaculate. I walked into this little club in Harlow, and I just walked into this club, and I saw this wee man sitting in the corner with a bald head. He looked about 10 years older than me, and I said, "That's got to be Jason Pegram." But I went into the bar, I got a drink, and I went, "Oh Jesus, he's here!" And I went, "You know what? I feel at home in this club. And you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to bring 16 players. I'm going to bring 16 players into this club, and I'm going to try to pro on. I'll be absolutely honest with the pair of you. And I know you're on here, Jason. But the thing is that you see all the players, all those semi-pro players that I've been bringing to that club. Not one of them complain about the club, all the tables. And for me, that's like, what's the problem?
Yeah, well, that's what we want, really. That's how we want it. There's always something. Sorry, Mike.
Nice to see you, last Jason.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I say I've never even been in the club, and I feel at home in it.
Membership's full. It's full. You're not allowed in.
It's one of them clubs. I mean, when you hear Dave talk about 20 snooker tables, no, 20 pool tables, and how many snooker tables was it?
22, I think.
What Leeds? 27.
Mommy's sitting next to me, and she's like, "Christ, we're one of the smallest." I mean, we are really. We are 5 snooker, 4 pool, and darts. I've got poker school in there and stuff like that, just for fun. And we've got a massive social side to the club, which is obviously what most clubs need. I mean, it's all right having a load of people playing snooker, but if you've got no one at the bar, it's hard to keep them running. And that's where a lot of the clubs go wrong. I mean, they'll have an event on, but that event's just Saturday or Sunday. Monday to Friday, they've got no one there, and that's the key for me. I have the club much busy from the word go.
He took me into this club, Michael, and he took me upstairs down. He took me all in these wee rooms. It was like we were like secret. I was waiting for the call girls to come out, But I mean, he took me into these wee rooms upstairs, the pool area, lovely little bar area, pool area, and it was absolutely amazing. Out the back, I was doing some interviews out the back, where you can't do an awful lot. There's a lot of stuff. I can do lots of social media out there. I can set up a studio out there, and it's absolutely amazing. And you go into the bar, and the bar staff are very much sports bar oriented, and they're all with it. And as I say, all the players sort of like felt at home, just like I did straight away. Anyway, listen, I'm gonna stop praising you, all right? Because it's I'll give you some money back, okay? But anyway, look, Jason, I want to get a wee bit of back. Most of the lads know you because you're old.
Yeah,
some of them don't.
As well, I suppose. I'm
But
trying.
give us a wee bit of background on you, and when you first got your hands on the club.
My club or a club?
Your club, JP's.
Well, I was obviously on tour myself as a snooker player,
Yep.
And during my playing days, I didn't earn any money, so I had to work, and I run a snooker club in Ware. No, actually, when I was a kid, I ran my dad's club, which was Lucania, which was Barry Earn's. Barry Earn owned all the Lucania clubs around the UK, and I was sort of 12, 13, 14 running that for him while he was in the nightclub, which was pretty much every night of the week, my dad. So he'd leave me to it. So I learnt my trade there. Then I run another snooker club in Ware called Pockets. And then I knew that I also run a club in Hazel Grove as well. When I lived in Cheshire for a few years in Wilmslow, I run a club there, which is the Hazel Grove Snooker Club, for a Greek fella called John. And there was a lot of events held there. So I had my hand in a few clubs, and I got ideas from each one of them. And I knew that I would be able to make a success of a club for many reasons, really. Mainly because I knew what people wanted, the public. You know, I know what they want in a club. The last thing they need is a martyr behind the bar telling them what they can't do and making them feel unwelcome. They need to feel comfortable in the club to an extent. Obviously, when they overstep the mark, you've got to. So I knew that the club in my town, Lucania, which then become Riley's. There's a Riley's in my town, but it's a sports bar as such. But they haven't got no nice tables. Even the pool tables are no good. The equipment, as someone was on about just now, there's no equipment in there. No one knows how to put a tip on. They've probably never been ironed. So the town was crying out for a nice club, you know. And so me and my wife and I, and the ex-sponsor at Snooker, who's a friend of mine, we decided to get this club. So he's got a third share, and he's the business side of things, if you like, for dealing with. He's the accountant, yeah, as my missus has said. But my vocabulary is not great, so I get myself tongue-tied with people that start trying to use a lot of long words on me and that. So I leave that to him. You know, I just get everyone in the door. So
all right, I'll write them down and send them over to you. Okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I just knew that it'd be a success, and it was pretty much from the first couple of months we opened, and everybody come back to all the snooker people that I knew in the town started coming back to us. I mean, I've got 5 tables, but I've got 11 snooker teams in there, and I've got 6 pool teams, and we use it for Essex County stuff as well for the snooker. Obviously, Ronnie comes in and plays, as you know. He's got a table there. It's not his table; it's my table. But
a lot of people, it's on the record. Everybody knows.
Yeah, he's had it done to his specs. It's a tough table, as you know. So we've got some young lads in there, as Michael would probably be aware of. Some of them are Alex Clinshaw, who's he's learning the game still. You know, he's learning how to behave, and he's a little bit petulant and stuff. So I'm trying to make him have a bit of class if he can get there. Young Jack Haley.
Jack Haley. Yep.
He played for representing England this year at Malta. He's cleaned up on the junior tour, not the Prem, the one before it.
Yeah, the regional.
Yeah, it's become. I think he won more or less all of them apart from one this year. So he's gone on to the junior Prem. He's learning. He's a nice lad.
Lots of potential.
Massive.
Jack, I sponsored Jack a wee bit, as you know.
Fantastic.
You know, alongside, I know you sponsor Alex.
Yeah.
I sponsor Jack. I believe in him. I wouldn't put his entry fee in there, Jason, if I didn't think he had ability.
No, I know. Yeah.
You know, I think he's just a few months away from.
I'll tell you, Alex gives him 14 now. It used to be 28. He's down to 14. You know, Alex is he's having to keep his game up to keep away from Jack. If you know what I mean. Jack's doing well. So I mean, Alex, you can see it. Alex is on a different level completely, but Jack's getting it, and he's learning from Alex. And
just
Alex,
touching on. Sorry, Jay.
Right.
Just touching on the clubs.
Yeah.
Right? Getting back to the club. You know, I think that for you, I think for you, it's just a very natural thing because you're a semi-professional snooker player. I know you haven't picked the bloody cue up for a long time, but I know, you know, I've heard so many stories about how dull. Sorry, how good you are.
Yeah.
You know, but it's always good to have someone very, very snooker oriented. But the thing is that a lot of the club owners and representatives who are watching this, who will look at this today, or they'll watch it tomorrow or next week or next year, they'll look and they'll think, you know what, these are the important things. So what would you say are the important things about bringing members back into the club? What's it all about? What makes a successful sports bar like yours successful? What's it about?
I think the first thing is you've got to have someone in the club who cares. You've got to have. You can't just open a club and put anyone in there. You've got to have someone in there who's involved at some point or still got a love for snooker. Now I've still got a love for snooker, so the tables will always be looked after. I mean, some clubs have opened up with all-star tables. The members are not going to want to play on them all the time. You know, they're not going to pop balls on these tables. They need to be potting balls. So if you've got match tables all over your club, it's going to be very hard to get the right clientele in there. So, like Dave Grace earlier was saying, he's got some match tables and he's got some club tables, and if you can get a good mixture, that's the way forward. As a snooker player, I'd love all my tables to be at match standard, you know, but you ain't going to get people going in there. If they take their son in there and he can't pot a ball, he's not going to want to go back, you know. You need to be potting. So I'm not saying have massive pockets, but you have to make sure your facilities are appealing to all standards of player. So you've got to do your best there, really. I mean, I've got good cloths on my tables. To be honest with you, I get them clothed a little bit too quicker than what they should. As a business side of things, we haven't done quite regular, and that's the snooker side of me, I think, in it. But we also have a lot of serious men in there that play throughout the day, and I think they realise when the cloth's sort of on its decline. So we have a membership fee, and obviously that membership fee will go towards the upkeep of the club, if you like, maintaining the tables.
Is that an annual membership fee, Jake?
Yeah, we only do what are we now, £15 a year, aren't we?
£15. Same as Brighton. It's the same down south. Yeah.
Obviously, our tables the table rate that we have is £7.50 an hour till 6 o'clock, and then from 6 o'clock onwards it's £9.50. But during the day, I do a deal with the regular lads. We was touching on that earlier. I do £15 per person, which is a fantastic deal. I'm told it's too cheap by other club owners, but they're not paying my bills, you know, so I'm not interested in what they have to say. But I have 11 o'clock till 6 o'clock, so 7 hours of snooker. They can play that for 15 each. 30
wow,
quid.
that's very good.
I know I could sometimes. I've got people on there on the table that spent 30 quid, and I know I've got someone waiting to go on who's going to spend £7.50 an hour. But them ones that I'm giving the deals to, they're in there all the time, every day. You know, they're paying the bills, sort of thing, if you like. And if I can, I will fit the other lads onto the tables as and when. But at the moment, you know, you have to make sure you've got your income first, haven't you, before the heart, you know. You've got to do it.
The last time I paid 15 quid for a day snooker, I paid 15 quid. Rayleigh's Snooker Club in Red Hill in Surrey. It's not open anymore.
Yeah.
But I was sort of at the end of my days there. So we would just go there and get drunk all day and play snooker.
Yeah.
With a friend of mine from mid-Sussex.
Yeah.
And I think it was Alan Minter who threw me out of the club. I was so drunk I took my trousers off for a laugh. Some young woman wanted to look at my legs, Michael. I had really, really lovely legs. You know, I was a good-looking lad with a big flop of black hair. Anyway, Minter threw me out. All the people that threw you out of the club, Alan bloody Minter.
Alan Minter, yeah.
Oh. Anyway, I'll never forget. 20 years ago, must be 25 years ago. I don't know. I'll never forget that. 15 quid we paid for the whole day.
Well,
and you know, the pints of Foster's were about £1.50.
A club I used as a kid was we played at Ilford and Barking. Now I wasn't a regular in either of them, so I wasn't getting deals as such from the owners because I was based in Harlow with another snooker player called Roger Garrett from my, you know, we was the two players in the town. Roger was a good player, but in Ilford you had like Eugene Hughes was the pro, and you had Ken Doherty, Stephen Murphy from Ireland, Burgle. Who else come over? There's a few others come over, and you had obviously Little Ronnie was playing there. Mark King, Chris Scanlon. So all these lads, they would all be on a deal throughout the day. You know, they'd all have to pay a little bit of money. I don't know so much about Ronnie, but there was money being taken from all these lads. You know, the same was at Barking, and the same was at Whittam, where I was sort of finishing my days as a player. Ali Carter, Brian Morgan, I think, was the two players at there, but all the other lads were paying so much. What I do with the amateur lads that come to my club now, I charge them £10 because I know money's tight. So you've got players like Zach Surety that comes over. We have who else have we got coming? We've got quite a few of the junior lads. Ryan Thomason from Cambridge. We get a few people that come over. Sean O'Sullivan was in. You know, recently we've got a lot of the amateur lads that come in, and I let them pay a tenner. And you know, I want to charge them nothing, you know, because I know they haven't probably got a lot of money, but just to get a tenner to go towards the cloth, you know, that helps. So my sort of side of things are still towards some of the snooker players, you know. In a nutshell, sometimes I've got someone sitting at the bar who wants to get on a table, but there's two lads playing that are trying to become a professional. So I try my hardest. Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one. But like you asked on the question about running a successful club, I think it's the personality of the person running the club, first of all. You know, I'm quite big-headed. I would say I'll get on with pretty much everyone in the club. I'll make them feel welcome. I will get them a beer. And I will make them feel comfortable when they're in their club, you know, and their wife and their sons and daughters when they bring them in. I'm not away from them. I'm full on, you know, and it's like a host, how a host should be. I think all the successful nightclubs over the years, if you had a good host in the nightclub, that'd be a successful club, you know, and that's how I think it is for me, you know.
I think that's important too, because when I come in, we've been holding the back-to-back Pro-Am events in your club and other clubs now for, I don't know, how long we've been doing, a couple of years?
Yes, yeah.
You know, it was touch and go really when we first started, because the both of us were uncertain as to whether the players would settle in, because it was such a small club.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that it doesn't matter about that.
Yeah.
You know, it really doesn't matter. It's about the players being comfortable. If they can come in and play some serious snooker, and they have a nice sort of different sort of amalgam of tables they can play on, they can, you know, get down to the quarterfinals, semi-finals. I always say, right, which table do you just want to play on? You know, do you want to play on Robbie's table, or do you want to play on that? Huge differences between two tables. You know, you feel as if you're hitting maybe one's hitting the ball better than the other, and he's thinking to himself, I want it. Let's get on Robbie's table. Yeah. I'm hitting the cue ball dead center. I want you. So I mean,
right.
And then they come to me, and I always get it. Come down to me and they say, Dave, we'll play. Right, I say, right, okay, nice compromise. Play that one.
Yeah.
Play that one in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, it's never a problem.
No.
And it's very, very comfortable. And I can run the whole tournament just sitting at the bar.
Yeah, that's right.
I can get absolutely legless at the bar and just watch the guys just play snooker, and absolutely, I could talk to him. I could talk to his Colin, your dad.
Yeah.
And you're just talking to snooker players all the time, and most of them leave, by the way, Michael. Most of them, as soon as they get beat. Bear in mind, these boys are all semi-professional, Michael. There's not much between them and all, and the lads on the lower end of the tour. There really isn't. They just go home. You know, they're playing for a £400 first prize, 200 runner-up, £100 booby prize for getting the losing semis. You know, that's not bad for best of sevens, and it's a long day. And someone will go, I'm tired. I'm too tired. You know, well, you know, you're in the wrong game. You're in the wrong game then if you're too tired. You know, things were like, you know, back in the old days of Blackpool, you know, when you had half of people might as well be working in a shop. You know, I mean, they were wasting their time. But I mean, it's a bit like that. But that club has that very, very comfortable breathing feeling, and that's important too. But yes, important thing too about the
we have a Friday event as well, which Michael knows about. It's like everyone puts a tenner in, and then we only have like 16, 20 runners. Sometimes we've had a bit more than 20 odd. Sometimes we've had a bit below 16, but they all come together and have a nice evening. It's handicap. There's always people who are saying that someone should be on a different handicap, but it's how snooker was for years ago, wasn't it? You know, there's always a bit of banter. Yeah, we have a bit of banter, and the young lads are giving like 80 or 90 start. Like Jack goes in it. We don't let Alex in it now, but Jack gives 80 starts. Like, you know, he's 14, but he's doing him good because he's learning how to play safe, and he's learning when to take his chances and his risks. You know, but
I haven't talked about handicaps actually. You know, I probably could have touched on it. I'm pretty sure that David and Paul were setting them up as very experienced club owners, but
yeah,
handicaps are very, very important.
oh, massive.
You know, even like an order of merit.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, handicap rollover where the players, you know, the Brighton club does it really well. Everybody pays something like 15 quid, right? And
is it a ladder?
yeah, but it's a bit like that. It's a handicap order of merit, a bit like a ladder.
Yeah.
But there's prize money every time. So they have a ladder that's separate. They have the ladder, right? Loser pays the lights or whatever. Good, it's okay. And then you have the order of merit handicaps, and they're open for anybody and everybody. The club usually gets between 16 and 28. Handicaps, so everybody pays 15 quid. A fiver of that goes to the club, and £10 of it goes in the pot. And it's a Sunday. Where the clubs are very quiet. I mean, the club would be empty. It'd be empty until about 3 in the afternoon. Nobody would be in there.
Yeah.
And you know, it works every time, and clubs need to look at it. You know, and that's why it's working. That's why it works. It works in your club. It works in other clubs.
Yeah.
You know. So what's happening in the future then, Jay? What's the plans for the future of the club?
Obviously, the plan for me personally is to obviously get more juniors in there. Get them playing. I mean, we've done well with the two we've got. There's another couple of lads. One of the lads, he plays pool with his dad. Trying to get him on a snooker table at the minute because I said to his dad, you know, he's a fantastic young lad. This junior, but he don't like playing snooker. I'm hoping we can change that. Obviously, with Alex, we want him to go into Q school. He's definitely ready. I like him to have done it a different way. I like him to have stayed on the junior Prem tour. Last year, but he missed a couple of events. One was my wedding, and one was for personal reasons. And I don't think he was. I don't know if he was allowed to go into the others, or there was an issue. But Alex took his eye off the ball a little bit, and he sort of wasn't allowed into the events. But I'm hoping that he will do Q school, and if he doesn't qualify, I think personally,
He'd be on there. But he needs to get on a challenge tour, Jack.
That's the one, the challenge tour, and also the EASB or whatever it is now. Their amateur scene that they've got, where you've got like Zach Shirty and all them lads competing in that, like Wayne Townsend or whatever. I think Jack's going to go junior Prem. As far as the club goes, I mean, obviously Ronnie's hoping to play snooker again. So if we have him in there again, he comes and goes. He just messages me and said I'm coming in, and he'll do 4 or 5 days on a spin before an event. So that's obviously fantastic for our members to see him in there. I don't tell anyone; he just comes in and they walk in, and if he's on the table, it's an amazing experience for them. Like, you know, I've got some other players in there, as you know, like Gary Filkis comes in and has a game. Stuart Parnell is a friend of mine from the tour. He's been in there quite a lot. Lee Richardson comes over, my friend. We've also, Stuart Bingham's been over, Joe Perry's been over to have a game. So we've got some lovely players that come in. As far as where my bread's buttered, it's the locals and the regulars that I'm interested in. And they have their own money league. We call it a money league, and we've got like 20 people in that money league for snooker. And also we've got 3 divisions of pool players. They've got a money league, and what that involves is you pay subs each week, £10. You pay an entry fee of 20 or 25, and you pay each player over the course of 20 weeks, if you like. And it's done on a league format like the football. The top prize would be £1,000 roughly to the winner. The club makes no money out of that apart from the subs. We take a little bit of the money from the pool players. I think it's a £5 for each match of the pool. And we all with the snooker, we charge them half price table, so they get a match against their, to earn money, and they pay half price, and that keeps all the interest involved in the club as well as the league snooker, and it works for me. And I can't. I'd love more tables. That's how it is in my club. I'd like 5 or 6 more snooker tables because the business is there for us.
Can you do something with those rooms, Jay? Is there anything
we've got,
in the rooms? Can you like push a few walls in?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, upstairs we could probably get another 4 tables in, or we could have a new floor put in and have another 5 tables. But we are getting to that stage where we probably will need to make some decisions. But at the moment, we're doing well. We've been 3.5 years now open, and we're still eating. You know what I mean?
We're going to keep that wee room in the side there for the go-go girls, aren't we?
Yeah,
everybody can eat. Don't you go back on your word. Don't you go back on your word.
Oh, wow.
Jay, listen, thanks very much for it. Michael, is there anything you want to touch on with Jay before we go?
One quick question. I don't know whether it's a quick answer, really.
Yeah.
But if you imagine yourself now, just you were given a club in a town that you didn't know.
Yeah.
And you said, right, there's 6 good tables, aristocrats with decent clocks on, set up, few pools. How would you get people in? What would you use how would you attract people?
Most of the time, I would think I would go to the local. Most towns or most cities have a local league, don't they? There's a local snooker league pretty much everywhere still. So straight away, I would go to whoever's held some kind of league snooker before. So if I was in Birmingham, I'd look for their local snooker leagues and stuff like that, and I'd go straight to I'd go to one of the committee meetings, if I could. I would ring around. I'd get contacts off of ex-players mainly from that area.
Yeah.
Look out how many league teams this town used to have, who used to play snooker from this town. Get an idea of the snooker, the snooker interest in that local area. And I think as long as you can, I wouldn't say. I mean, I had never advertised my club when it opened. This was all through Facebook, so I never paid for any advertising. I just made a lot of phone calls. Obviously, people knew me from the town as a snooker player, but the word went round, and I think if the word goes round, that's as good as any. I mean, I would certainly start with the local snooker leagues.
Yeah, I think that's interesting actually, because I don't think there's enough credence given to the leagues. I think when I was part of the EASB, we never bothered with the leagues.
No.
The EPSB at the moment, maybe they've got plans to do, but they don't involve the leagues.
Yeah.
There's lots of snooker going on there, and there's people who play week in, week out, and there's social side and all that kind of stuff, and there's lots and lots of snooker there. And I think if you could, it would help the leagues as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the leagues are dying off. But
that's right.
It needs something more, and it needs the clubs and the league to get all back together somehow.
I think the leagues are very important, and that's the bread and butter. Snooker players, they don't spend money. We know that. They've not got money to spend. They come in your club. I mean, I'm going to name, say for instance, Sonny Singh for a little while ago was crying out for, he wasn't making any money for these competitions from the snooker players. And we know that. That's been going on years. You could have 128 entries in a pro-am when I was a kid. None of them are spending money really at the bar. A few of them, people like me probably, that didn't make it, but there weren't many people at the bar, and so the snooker clubs, they would make money on food and stuff. But Sonny was struggling. I know he was, because he made about when he has an event, but he was on about maybe having some of the players put some money in extra. That's fair enough. Put 20 quid. Yeah, you know what I mean, Dave? And
yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, I've done nothing but promote you. All I've done is promote you since I've come in your club.
Yes. Yeah.
You skyrocket to the top. Clemmy says, come in, you can bring all the players in here, do it for free. But all he was doing all that time, Michael, was promoting his club and himself. And there's me right down at the bottom where I belong, and I promoted JP's Lounge. If
you're looking to make a lot of money out of a pro-am, you're not going to make a lot of money out of it, but it's giving your club a nice. It's getting on the map, isn't it? Your club's on the map.
Stuart, how are you? Can you see us all right? Stuart's just joined us there. Do you anybody recognise that man there? That's Stuart.
Fucking bottle washing.
He's so old. He's so old, I can hardly see him. Hold on. Oh, yeah, it's all right. It's okay. Anyway, never mind about that. Anyway, look, I'm surrounded. Stuart, don't worry. I'm surrounded by 2 old men here, and I'm just about to get rid of the one with no hair. So that's all right. Jason, always a pleasure.
Michael, nice talking to you, Michael.
Yes, and you too, Jason.
Michael, you're welcome to the club anytime. You want to come down, Michael?
I'll be down as soon as I can.
Come down anytime you like.
Thank you.
Right,
Be good.
All right.
See you later.
Wonderful. Stuart, thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolute pleasure to have you on. Now, for some people who are unaware of who you are, I will make this as brief as possible. Okay. You are the current manager of Levels Snooker Club in Huddersfield. It's a new club. I've been there with a professional, and I am massively, massively impressed with the club. It is probably the biggest club I've ever seen in my life. You know, but
Yeah,
you could probably put a football pitch in there on the basement, and you could have an indoor full-size football pitch. But anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself, Stuart, and what's happening with the club.
Yeah, like you say, I'm Stuart. I manage Levels. It's Kev Ellis and Richard Oldfield's business. So I just ensure the day-to-day smooth running. Kev looks after the promotions, the hosting side that Jason was talking about. We've got 9 full-size snooker tables, including Riley Aristocrat and Star, and we've got 7 pool tables. One of those is a match table, which is up on the same level as the snooker tables.
And it's a massive. Stuart, when I came into the club, I came in with that big lumpy Irish man called Jordan Brown. We came in there and he says, "Right, guys, I'm going to let you come in, go on the table over there, go on the star table, have a game of snooker." And we played for about 3 hours. And we had some food at the bar. It was a great experience. It was nice and comfortable. And I was just, Kev showed us around. He showed us in the basement area. And I just thought, this place is unbelievable. It's huge potential. Very friendly. And I had a look around the tables. Very, very impressive area. And the food was great too. The food was really, really good. Huge potential for an academy. More professional snooker players also. What cloth have you got on those tables there, Stuart?
So we've got the Hainsworth match on the Star and 6, 8, 11 on the standard snooker tables. And we just had a Ronnie O'Sullivan exhibition on the 13th of March, 1 week before we were asked to close. And Ronnie requested a certain cloth on that table. And like I said, that's Kev's domain. I'm not sure, that might be, what's the one that wears quickly, the strong. Yeah, it might be that we've got on the Aristocrat at the moment. Yeah,
it'll be number 10, surely.
Yeah, maybe so.
How many professionals have you got in there at the moment, Stuart, if any? Practicing?
So we sponsor Sam Craigie. Kev manages Sam, goes to the tournaments with him, and we're lucky we're also sponsoring young Stan Moody.
Stan, I did an interview. By the way, guys. Just for the viewers out there, I've on the YouTube channel. There's an interview with myself and young Stan. It's a cracking wee interview. It only runs 3 minutes, but it's worth taking a look at. Great player. Carry on, Stu.
Yeah, we give Stan free table light. Whenever he wants to come to the club, we make him welcome. And I have to say, it is a privilege to pick a few balls out for him. He's some talent. He really is.
I mean, he can hardly stretch over the table, and he's so well mannered.
Yeah,
I met his family, and obviously I met him for the first time at the Mark Allen Pro-Am a couple of years ago. I don't know how old he is now. What is he? Is he 11? He's 10.
13.
Is he 13 now?
Yeah.
He was 11 when I interviewed him, and he's
Right.
13 now. So he's probably grown about 5 inches. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some
How quick does the kid grow?
He will grow, and hopefully it won't affect his technique too much. I know Ricky Walden had a problem, didn't he, when he shot up at sort of 15, 16. But hopefully Stan will still be able to maintain that same cue action. He's that individual. He keeps his feet on the ground. You know, he's a great guy, isn't he?
I can't remember. I asked him what his highest break was at the age of 11.
Right.
I know that Sean Murphy had his first 100 break when he was about 10. But Stan is at 143 at the age of. I think he said he was. Did he say he was 9 or? I think he was 9.
Yeah.
143. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, he can't even get over the table. You know, I mean, it's just incredible what he's doing, and he's going to be. I think he's going to be a big star. I think he's going to be a big star, and you've obviously got him in the club, and that's great things to look forward to. You know,
I think he first picked up a cue when they were on holiday in Fuerteventura, and something like he's playing pool, and 3 months later he's back and sort of playing on full-size tables to that sort of level, or making century breaks, so you can see what sort of talent that is. Natural talent.
It's amazing what he's doing. Let's just talk about, just touch on the club a wee bit more there, Stu. What in terms of subscriptions, membership, and table rates and that there, what sort of areas do you look at what to get the membership going, to get people in? What sort of deals and annual membership fees do you?
Full year's membership is £20 for an adult. But we offer the £15 deal where you can play between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. A bit similar to what Jason offers.
JP,
yeah, and also you can do that same offer 6 p.m. till we close at 11 p.m. 11:30 p.m. as well. So
is that working?
Yeah, you can have a pool table on those same rates as well if you prefer. Junior membership is £5 for the year. I don't know if you want me to obviously go on and talk about. We have the Monday night flyer.
Yep, let's talk about that.
Yeah, Monday night flyer, £5 entry. If it goes one to play up the Huddersfield League handicap, or Kev will give you a handicap based on the area that you play. We've had lads coming over from Burnley, Bradford to play in it. If it goes one each, then it's a respotted black to decide the winner, which is quite an exciting format.
What sort of numbers are you getting on that one?
Between 16 and 34 is our record entry on a Monday night, which was difficult for Kev to get that one played through by midnight. But I think just about managed it.
I think that was the first one, wasn't it? One of the first ones. It was like really well.
That's right, Michael. Yeah, it did take off in those early weeks, and it was just like more entries kept flooding in. But it's sort of settled down to around 20 most Monday evenings now, which is great, you know.
Yeah, great.
We've got the Sunday morning kids club. We've got the WSA coach John Bastow that takes the kids for that. The numbers are rising. I think we had the best ones about 24 children one Sunday morning, but we're averaging again, 15 to 20 children now on a Sunday morning.
That's working.
Is it Huddersfield Hot Shots or something? Is it?
Yeah, the Huddersfield Hot Shots under that banner. Yeah.
You see that's working. The juniors thing is working.
Definitely.
And it's I think it's something that the clubs, hopefully some of the club owners will be looking at this and thinking maybe that's a direction maybe they should spend a bit more time on. Generating a juniors section, snooker section. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday. It's what we need to do to bring kids into the game. Would you agree with that, Stuart?
Yeah, we've got to get them in the club, get them playing, keep them interested. There's no point in them going on the star table straight away. We want them to pot some balls and enjoy it. Maybe even pool is a good starting point. If you're under sort of 9 years old and you're struggling to reach, and then just build to a snooker table, don't you? Really.
There is another idea from Chris Gaynor. He's got quite a few different ideas and some good ideas, definitely. Where like from schools, they have like a PE session or whatever they call it these days, and you can go to some sports centres, they go swimming or stuff like that. Could you not like get local schools and get them and say like, do you want to bring your kids in for an hour,
Well,
Wednesday morning or something, whatever.
I mean, that's it. Maybe it's something we could look at. 9:30 till 11. Get some local school children in to have a go. Hopefully, a few of them have already been in either the kids club or with the parents anyway.
But it's just like an advert, really, isn't it? To get the kids interested. Gives the schools somewhere to go. Obviously, you've got to have all the insurances, CRB checks, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, if the Paul Hunter Foundation wanted to bring some 6-foot tables along, those that got the space for them, definitely. So they could, even the smallest children could have a go on those.
Yeah.
Stuart, what's the plans for the future? Are you going to do anything downstairs and below that area? Any plans for the club in the future?
Well, yeah, hopefully, obviously, the business will just pick up where we left off. Our first 8 months have been really successful. Really pleased with how it was going. And then, obviously, like everyone else, we've just been halted by this. I think, one day Kev would love to have a match room in that area that he showed you. Like you said, maybe an academy. The space is there, but just got to build to that and make Levels as it is now a success, first and foremost, really.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing, the area there to expand on it. It's good to see that a club can find that space to do that in Huddersfield. I think the only thing that's let you down a wee bit is perhaps maybe the parking. Has that improved any for you to that extent? The parking there.
Sorry, I just missed that bit about the parking.
The parking with the club. I know it's quite a small area around the front there. Is there something you can do with that? Is it a difficult area to park up?
That is actually a different business that owns that park.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
We do have about 75 spaces on the road very close to us, so it's never been much of a problem. We had 150 in for the Ronnie O'Sullivan exhibition.
Wow.
Obviously, some people did come by taxi or get dropped off for that night. We seem to manage, okay. But maybe in the future, as relationships change with different business owners on our site, maybe increased parking is something we could look at.
Mm-hmm. What about in terms of the pro-ams? I think you run is that monthly? You run a monthly pro-am there for higher standard players.
Yeah, we've had a few pro-ams. It just depends what else is in the calendar. It's like just before we had to shut down for the virus, we were about to host the English Open billiards competition as well. Mm-hmm. We'd had a few of the top billiard players in practicing for that. But yeah, we were very lucky actually because Ollie Lyons made a 147 our second ever pro-am, which Kev Ellis back to there, I think,
Can I ask you a question? It's probably a question for you, Dave, as well, because you're a snooker player. Stuart, I know you played snooker. You've had the 147, I think, haven't you, in your time? But there's the Monday night flyer. Obviously, you've got the handicap, and there's always people saying about the handicaps. JP does the Friday night handicap. He's always saying, "Oh, he's a bandit, and he shouldn't be off that." Blah blah blah. There's always this thing. Where do you get your handicap from? Would there be any merit to somebody like the WPBSA or even the EPSB devising some kind of national, like golf do, national handicap system?
Imagine so, wouldn't you? And it would be easier if you went area to area to play handicap competitions.
If you could have something, portable handicap, it'd be great, wouldn't it? I don't know how they would do it, but they do it at golf, don't they? Even if you have a good win in your home club, your handicap comes down, so if you go to another club, you carry that handicap with you.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea, something like that.
I don't know how to do it.
Different standards, isn't it? In different leagues, so a century break player might be off -25 in Burnley, but a century break player in Leeds might be -50. It varies, doesn't it, from area to area?
Yeah, but I think it's all based on, making it level. That's all it's about. Giving everybody a chance. Like I play in our local, in the local club. Every month we have a handicap, and I got to the final, and I in the first round in that I beat an ex-pro, Mike Nixon, who I needed like a lot of stars. I needed like 70 stars, but because I got that, I managed to beat him 4-3, and it was a fantastic experience for me, even at my age, doing that. And I got to the final beating people, but that's because you've got a handicap, and that gives you a chance, doesn't it? It gives everybody a chance. But if we could have a national handicap system, it'd be wonderful, eh?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, I'm not so sure, Michael. I reckon it'll do their heads in, mate. I reckon it'll shut the whole organisation down. The idea of, I think they've got enough on their plate,
I'll run it past Jason Ferguson next time I see him. I
think it's very nice for everybody, because everybody likes to be competitive. It's nice to have ideas for clubs. I think the order of merit handicap system in a club is very, very good. Where maybe a big club like yours, Stuart, can maybe hold an order of merit handicap, a rollover event, where maybe everybody pays 15 quid, £5 goes to the club, £10 out of that money's paid out of the pot, and then run an order of merit, and then the top 16 at the end of the season get a free entry, and work it all out.
Yeah, I
think
think
that works. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Clubs should do that twice a month. I would encourage all clubs to do that twice a month. But it doesn't matter what way you do it. You could have like a Monday night flyer, or a Tuesday night double whammy, whatever you want to call it. It works as long as they all come in the club and get involved. Then that's the important. It's always good to sort of test these things out. Sure.
I think we might have been looking at some sort of summer Grand Prix league or competition, similar to what you sort of mentioned, until we were stopped in our tracks, really. So it's just picking those competitions back up and starting to get the calendar of tournaments full. I mean, can we have 32 entry tournaments? How long are we away from having 32 entry tournaments at the moment?
I think that's tough. That was tough. I remember when I first started doing competitions, it was really tough to get the numbers in. It was tough to read, but it really is.
Sorry, Dave, what I'm meaning is, will we be allowed to advertise to get 32 in at the moment, with the social distancing, etc.?
Oh, no way. No chance. But you will. It depends. Like, the thing is, when the club opens again, obviously there's going to be social distancing, so you're going to have to possibly look at maybe only every other table being used, for example. And then obviously a system where people can't get too close together. But
yeah,
we'll have to look at it, be a bit more positive really about it, Stu, in terms of after the lockdown when things get back to normal.
Yeah, sorry, I was meaning it could possibly be, much later on this year or early 2021 for another pro-am, maybe. I'm not sure, obviously. Yeah.
Well, I've got my pro-am scheduled for the end of June. So, end of July. So, I've already put the dates in there for the London and Harlow Club. So, I think we can make that work. So it just depends. But that's the only reason why I've put those competitions out there is to actually, put a little bit of positivity into what we're doing. All right, we might have to change those dates. We might have to reduce the timing on the events and do a bit of social distancing. But
make a slightly smaller qualifying field or something like that.
We have to be very positive about it. And
we have to do something like that where we maybe have 12 players on consecutive, like 4 consecutive Sundays, and then with 8 qualifiers coming back for a finals day or something like that.
Yep. Yeah. No, anything like that. Anything that just promotes the game works, mate. I think we've talked about the other guys there, thinking of different ways to bring membership into the club. Promotions. You're already doing that, Stuart. you're already doing that, you know, and you're doing it. I'm really impressed with the club, you know, and I think, you know, your membership will just build and build and build and build, and it's all about bringing them back.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Bringing them back. I'm getting lots of distractions here. You know, guys, I'm sorry I can't bring in all your questions. I have enough trouble just speaking to two people on one screen. Never mind reading questions on the right hand side. Stuart, thanks very much for coming on, bud. I'm going to get up and see you and Kev very soon. Okay. And I'll come up, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll come up with a professional and we'll shoot a bit of video.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
We'll have a few laughs and we'll have some lunch. On Kev as usual.
Yeah.
Can I come? Can I come?
No, you're not alive. You're too old. Stuart, I'll catch you later, buddy. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Right, we're just waiting.
I can't stay too long now, Dave, to be honest.
Listen, I'm getting fed up with you anyway. So you really anything you want. We've only got we only got 2 left anyway. So
okay.
I don't know, you good? Only you good for 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
10 minutes, yeah.
We're just waiting for Jimmy McArdle and Sean Lennon to join us.
Oh, I can't miss Jamie. I need to speak to you. I like Jamie.
I think, you know, so far, Michael, I don't know about you. I think what we've got out of this is we've got. By the way, guys, the live stream has stopped and restarted again for some reason. I don't know why that is. And just before we're joined by Jamie and Sean, guys, please hit the subscribe button on the channel. I'm supposed to say this every 15 minutes, but I can't get a word in edgeways because of Michael. But just hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button so we can get as many on this going. I apologize for the setup. The important thing is hook up with Snooker Hub. I'm going to get all the details over to you. Snooker Hub UK. Most of you know who Michael is.
Yep.
You know, stuff. There you go. Stick it up there, Michael. Come on, free advertising. Put it on there. It's all right. And this is one of the reasons why we're doing this is just to promote the clubs and help the clubs, and they can advertise their events, you know, competitions, exhibitions, club promotions, ideas, anything. They can send it on Snooker Hub. Results as well, you know, whether you're using Siobhan's software, you know, where you compile all your competition results and put them together. Send Michael the link and he will post it on the website on the Facebook page. And I will do the same. If you send it to me, I will do the same. I know I run 3 events a month down here in the south, but for clubs in the Midlands and the north, you know, send me your competition details as well. And if Michael doesn't get them, I'll get them. I'll send them to Michael. And Michael will get in touch with you and what have you. So it all sort of works its way around like a nice cycle. So we're just going to wait for Sean and Jamie to come in. If we can find them. Unfortunately, we've lost. I wanted to speak to Jason Weston. He's had to pull out. That's terrible. That's a terrible thing. Some of you can't get a connection as well for some reason. I apologize for that, guys. I've no idea what's going on. You know, Michael, do you need to go, or are you okay for a minute?
I'm all right for a few minutes. It'd be nice to just have a quick chat.
Anything you'd like to bring up while we're on here? I want to talk about Snooker Hub and tell people other stuff that I haven't mentioned.
Well, I think, you know, if people go on Snooker Hub, they'll see what it is quite easy. What I'm interested in is really just helping these clubs to get the word out that they've got something going, whether it's a kid or whatever. And then Jamie comes in and
Jamie, is there any chance you're going inside?
Yeah, one sec. Sorry, mate. Sorry. I'm out in the beer garden.
Sounds like we're all having a bit of a disco there.
We're having a barbecue.
Barbecue takes the stress away. Absolutely.
Can you hear me better now, yeah?
That's a bit better, mate. That's much better. Right.
How you doing? You okay?
Stay still.
Hi, Michael. You alright?
Not so bad, Jamie. You?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Good.
So just in case guys, just in case some of you don't know who Jamie is, Jamie's been around. He's a player. Obviously, he's based in Manchester. Jamie has been involved with a lot of clubs. He runs a social club in the area, and he's been involved very much so with exhibitions in many other different clubs, and that's the reason why he's on here. So, Jamie, I don't know how much you've listened to.
Yeah, I picked up on quite a bit. Yeah.
Anything you'd like to touch on?
Yeah, I was listening to JP there about a lot of the stuff that he's done down in JP's club there in Harlow, and literally I just echo a lot of that. Really, you know, keeping people interested in coming in, good conditions, because obviously a lot of players like to not just play on good conditions but enjoy playing, because a lot of the time, like he said, if you had all star tables, you wouldn't attract people to come back regularly because they wouldn't enjoy it. So you've got to find a bit of a happy medium for different types of quality of player, you know.
Yeah, no, that's the essence of pretty much everything we're trying to do here. And where do you see? I mean, what sort of things do you see that clubs have to do to turn the problems around with memberships and providing competitions and that there? I mean, is there enough? I know you're in Manchester, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you have there in terms of clubs and good enough clubs to play.
Not many now.
Is there enough? So would
No.
you say there's not enough going on in the Manchester, Liverpool area? Is there? What does it need?
Liverpool's obviously a lot stronger than Manchester at the moment, because there used to be, Michael's been to a club, used to be called Q's Sports Bar in Bellevue, and I was in charge, obviously, setting all the snooker stuff up there, and you know, turned it into pretty good setup, like. But we involved like the ASB, the 147 club scheme, also the English Amateur Championships, all that type of thing. Because, but like Jason was saying, that's not going to always generate you a great deal of business, because snooker players don't tend to spend a great deal of money while they're at tournaments. So it's about looking for other avenues. So we incorporated like pool, darts, poker in the outside room, and then petition the snooker off to sort of allow that to succeed as well.
So it's a sports bar thing again. It's really pushing clubs forward. So I've visited some, Michael. I've visited some big clubs last year that are really. I'm not going to mention their names, but I've spent half the day in these clubs. Probably only 3 of them really significant clubs that could do a lot more, and they sort of have a lot of tables, and they need to get rid of half the tables, because in reality half their tables are not making any money. So expanding on the bar areas, expanding maybe on the pool tables, or maybe incorporate an area where they can provide entertainment. That is the way clubs need to go, in my view, in terms of the sports bar. Darts,
yeah, definitely, I would agree.
they need to do it.
Well, the way we used to do it is on a Friday night we had, like what Jason was saying earlier there, we'd have a tournament for just local league players at their own level, and then obviously because they were only there for a bit of fun and a bit of a social entertainment, it encouraged them to drink more as well in the evening. Saturdays we'd have like round robins for like the local pros in the area, like Craig Stedman and Michael Wilde and people I got at the time, and then Sunday we do a bigger pro-am with 50-60 players, and just try and mix it up to give all levels of ability to different players a chance to get some snooker, and obviously a day out as well.
Yeah, of course. I think different parts of the country are going to have different sort of views. The players are going to have different views on how much they want to spend and coming to play.
Definitely.
I mean, my pro-ams are all 60 quid. All the players. And I started off with advertising 32 player events for 30 quid, and it quite a lot of the good players were saying, "There's not enough money, Dave. It's going to be too long of a day." And then I brought them down to 24 and 16. But I took feedback off the players. I just took. For me, it was about, all right, what do you want? How much money do you want to spend? I'll do I could do 24 player events for 60 quid and have a £500 first prize. Or what do you want me to do? I'll not turn up. With just as an example, JP's and Clacton became very strong 16 player events for 60 quid. 400 the winner, 200 runner up, £100 booby, losing semis prize. Makes your day worthwhile. Play good players, full day at snooker. I said, what do you want to do, guys? Do you want me to stay? Do you want me to stay away and let you do it yourselves, and then I'll throw another £100 in the pot because I'm burning 50 quid with a diesel coming here, and I'm taking half a day off work. So, I was completely honest with him, Jamie, about the whole thing. If I take 160 quid out of the pot, is that too much? Because really,
not at all. I mean, to be perfectly honest, we used to do every once a month. We did at the end of the last Sunday of a month, we do a 32-man £50 entry.
Yep.
Get some of the the best pros around the northwest in it. Dave Grace, Peter Lanes, all them came up, and some of them used to. I'm not going to name names, but some of the players used to complain that Rob Spencer would get £100 for TD for the day.
Yeah.
And he'd sit there like 12 hours, which is, it's £8 an hour. It's not a lot.
No.
And some, like you said, snooker players don't generically spend money. And I've seen that many a year happen. And that's why you've got to use other avenues to get people to spend.
Well, I was taking money off the clubs, Jamie, to start with.
Well, the way we did it, Dave. Sorry to interrupt. We took a minor amount out of the pot. Normally, anyone that come to the pro-ams, if it's 25 quid, they paid 20% into the for the club for usage of the lights, because you were keeping all the normal customers off the table all day long, which meant the club wasn't making any money on the tables.
Yeah, but you see, that's a very, very interesting point. Actually, Jamie, there what you brought up, it just brings me on to something that I haven't brought up before, because it's only when you touch on these wee things. But the thing is, the clubs need. I know this is easy for me to say because I run events and do all this. It's very easy for me to say you should do it because it's good for the club. But I actually mean that from my heart. I went to the likes of Clacton and London, East London, West London, North London, JP's, and I said, look, Jason, if you let us come here once a month, I'll bring 16 really top amateur players into your club. I've stopped taking money off the club because Jason used to pay me a wee bit to promote the club, and then I would take half the money off the players. So if I was taking a £5 off the players, a £5 off the club for each player, right? And it worked very well. Then I said, you know what, the club shouldn't have to pay me anything. I shouldn't have taken anything.
That should be self-funded by the pot because there's enough in it to accommodate you for the work that you're putting in.
No, absolutely. So I mean, I got that. Sonny Singh was coming on and saying, you know what, they've got it good here. I've put a lot of money, and he's right. He was right when he said, I've pumped thousands of pounds into this club. You know what I mean? I've pumped all this money into this club, and I want to get a bit of business out of it. And he was right. It was actually him who prompted me. It was him who prompted me to stop taking money off the clubs. So he had a good point. As much as I disagreed with the promotional part of the thing the club would do, but I still think that the club should look at the promotional value of that.
Exactly. I think what JP was saying is a good way. If you can self-fund tables either via membership or subs out of various competitions, we applied the same thing not just in snooker but pool, darts, poker. Everybody paid a £2, £3 sub fee out of every tournament, and that went into a cloth fund in order to basically keep the tables updated for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Michael was there a lot. He seen the conditions were very, very good.
It's in that club shop.
I know. Well, it was run very badly. Unfortunately, I had no control over the commercial running of the club. I was just the snooker associate for it, really.
It's quite a shame though that because there isn't much around Manchester. It is a shame that. I mean, you've got Stephen Charles. Is it? I don't know what it's. I've never even been in that one. But
no, it's just 9-ball tables now. There's no snooker at all.
Is it not?
There's a couple of two pool tables, mostly 9-ball and air hockey, and I think there might be one snooker table at the bottom now. It's gone.
You got Hazel Grove.
Yeah, it's up. It's got 33 tables up.
Yeah, but they are. I've never.
Yeah, 33 tables.
I should go and have a look.
Yeah, it's massive.
Jamie, if somebody feel the need to come down for the back-to-back events, you know, on the south, in the London.
Yeah.
It's probably worth
Yeah.
2 years because.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I haven't. I need to get back into practice before I do anything because I haven't hit a ball since mid-February. You know, it's grim. Can't get back into my club at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's a bit. But we're all going to get through this, mate. You know, we're all going to move forward. I think we're looking at, we need to be a little bit more optimistic. Eventually, we're going to get out of this, and eventually, we're going to have these discussions next year. And think, you know what? It's actually made us think a little bit more about where we're going.
I think, like Sean said the other night, everybody will come back with a renewed sense of perspective and appreciation.
Yeah, absolutely. You know.
Hello, really here, Dave. I've got to go.
All right, mate. Okay.
See you, Michael.
See you later, Jim.
Thanks very much for joining us, mate. We'll catch you later.
Okay. Thank you.
See you later, buddy. Take care.
Okay, right. We're joined by Liam Martin now. Liam runs Tunbridge Wells, Victoria Snooker in Tunbridge Wells.
Yeah.
Massive building right in the town centre. Big car park. £2 a day. £2 a day. Jesus. You play snooker all day. It's a massive club. Big high ceilings. Lovely bar area, pool. Liam, how's it going there? How's the club doing? Before all this, obviously.
Yeah, before we got into this, it was very successful. Our snooker club is mainly what we call a serious social snooker club. We don't have the serious snooker players, but we have a lot of serious social players. So we have a good mix of
like me.
Yeah, really. We've got a very good mix of things. We ain't got anyone close to being pros or other than the young lad Dylan Smith that we have playing for us at the moment who looks like the new up and coming. But yeah, ours is basically run on members of the town and a small community that we're in Tunbridge Wells, really. So we rely a lot on locals and a lot of membership deals and to try and attract from the other towns like Maidstone and Tunbridge and a few areas like that.
Is that where you see the future then? You see building membership and maybe?
Yeah, we run at about 300 members a year, consistently. Our highest has been about 490 and lowest is about 250 something, give or take. But we consistently run at about 300 members, and they are normally they're normally renewals. I reckon 25% of new members most years, and the age range is pretty much from about 30 upwards. We don't have any youngsters. We've got no youngsters in the area, which we're trying to promote, but it's just hard to bring them into the game at the moment.
So have you thought about starting maybe a junior club?
Yeah, we've
2 hours a week on a Saturday or Sunday, maybe.
Andy, who works for me, has just took 2 of his coaching levels, and we're going to start a Saturday school. Like I've seen a few other places advertised to try and entice a lot of the kids in the community. We got 11 schools, I think, in Tunbridge Wells, so there's plenty of kids in the area. But it's just trying to get.
Whereas where's it doing that? And Michael, who's just come off there, I think you've been watching most of this, Liam, haven't you? I think that there's ways around that. Using Michael as a tool, an advertising tool, as a way to do that. So if you're going to start a junior section in Tunbridge Wells, by the way, I think the location's fantastic. You know, I mean, it is. I mean, I like Tunbridge Wells, you know, as a town, but the facilities are very good. Parking's very good. It's very, very cheap. It's very accessible from that perspective. But I think using Michael's platform for letting people know where you are, and if you're going to do competitions, if you're going to do something with the juniors, it's a big thing, you know. And you can put all your stuff on there. I don't know whether you know it or not, but you can post all your stuff on there for free. But I believe you're. I mean, I came down to the club, gave you a bit of advice about your table area and that there, and what have you. To expand on that, I believe you're. What's your plans for the future with the tables? Can you hear me, Liam? Can you hear me? You all right for time there, are you? Jimmy, are you okay? Stay on for a wee bit.
Yeah, I've got about another 5 minutes. I'm at my mate's house. I've got to cycle home in a bit.
No, Liam has just frozen up. So what I'm going to do is Liam, can you hear me?
He's back now, I think.
Is he? Can you hear me, Liam? Yep. No, that's okay. He's coming back in again. Get a wee countdown here. Here we go. Liam, can you hear me now? I don't think you can hear us.
No, he's froze again.
Just the signal's very weak there. Liam, can you hear us? Okay, well, I feel like one of those newsreaders. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come back to Liam very shortly as soon as we get a connection. But we're going to wrap this up soon because I've been running more than bloody 2 hours, and I didn't realize that YouTube restarted you after 100 minutes, which is
yeah.
But I'm still learning how to set all this up. I want to stay on YouTube, guys, just in case you're watching this. I don't know how many of you are watching this. I'm not even sure how many of you I actually sent the appropriate link to, but at least you can watch it another time. If you're watching this, you've got to just hit the subscribe button, because it helps the channel and it helps everything that we're trying to do here. And out there, Liam, can you hear me now? Any no good. I think we're going to lose. We're going to lose Liam a wee bit there. Liam, can you hear me? Nothing on there. Right, we'll just take Liam off for a minute. You can only tolerate so much in this world, Jimmy. One of us, two Irishmen, two Northern Irishmen left to wrap up the show.
Mine works. Mine's fine, mate.
What's in here? So I tell you what, we'll give him one more try. Okay, we'll just give him one more try to get in here. Back again. Can you hear us now, Liam?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I lost all the sound.
No, we're just touching on your plans for the club. What are your plans for the club?
Yeah, so as of now, we've looked at, obviously, with the COVID-19, we've decided to make a bit of a rebrand. As you can say, as you've been there before, Dave, the tables are a bit tight, so we're planning to move a few tables around. I think we're planning to take 2 tables out and reduce it from 8 to 6 tables, to make 2 match tables with heated sleigh, the full shebang.
Okay.
Also, we're looking at to expand probably 2 or 3 more pool tables. I used to have a private snooker room, which now I've got 2 pool tables in, and the pool tables in 3 months took what I earn in a whole year on a table in the room on its own. It's just ridiculous. Pool in the area is pretty good in Makeston and Tunbridge Wells and Tunbridge, them sort of areas. It's a lot more pool this way than it is. So snooker's very hard. So our work every year between myself and half is currently really good.
It's a great building, mate. There's lots to be done there. When I first came into your club, it looked like a huge stage. I was so impressed with it. I felt like jumping up on that stage and singing. And it was just a massive area. All right, the tables were a wee bit too close together, which is the reason why I came down there to take a look for myself, because I hadn't been to the club before. But putting that aside, it's just stop. You'll hear this back anyway. Putting that aside, just some of the players were just maybe, the views that they had were that the tables were a wee bit too close together. Maybe not quite enough distance to sort of stretch and play the shot. And so I just suggested you move the tables maybe another couple of feet, and then maybe just lose a couple of tables and bring in a couple of match tables. And effectively, all of a sudden, the club becomes a very suitable club to hold big competitions, because Jamie, it's an incredible space. You know, it really is. It's a really nice area too. £2 a park.
Yeah, I've never been.
You drive multi-story park. You drive in and you park up for £2 for the whole day. And you know, there's lots of places to go and get refreshments. The club itself, like a lot of snooker club fronts, situated in a busy wee high street area, you know, pedestrian area.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, you can't put up your car outside, but you can just get the car through the car park and come in. But I was just overwhelmed by the space in the club, and he's already turned it into a sports bar with the, with the
You need that.
you know, at that extent. And so the place just needs to turn itself around with very, very small wee things, and all of a sudden the membership will just boom, just go straight up. Juniors, handicaps, you know, different types of events, which I'm sure, you know, I'm pretty sure that Liam will be getting involved with the competitions, because I love to hold some competitions there, Liam, by the way. And then the Order of Merit thing with the handicaps, you know, and even with the pool, you know, get the guys in, keep bringing them back with promotional things, competitions, you know, flyers, Tuesday night flyer, call it whatever you like. It's there, you know. But we're going to keep losing you in and out, Liam. But we've got enough of what we needed to do here in the meantime. Right, guys, want to wrap this up. As I say, look, we got on Sunday, we've got the great Chris Henry. Wow. Can't wait to talk to him. Should be good. And we'll do this all again. We're going to be touching with some coaches and referees in the coming weeks as well. But I'm going to wrap this up. As usual, it goes on too long and I talk too much, you know, but, you know, everybody does. What can you do about it? Jamie, thanks very much for joining us, mate, as usual. It's always good to have a knowledgeable Irishman, you know, with your experience, and I'll speak to you again soon.
No.
Okay. Thanks very much for joining us, guys. Please hit the subscribe button. I know these videos are going on too long. I'll try and get them down as short as I can, you know, and concise as I can. But as I say, this was a difficult one tonight with the connections in YouTube. First time I went live, so it'll be very interesting to see how many people have actually watched this. So, and if none of you haven't watched it, have a little look on it on YouTube. It will be on there. If you want any information, just send me a message. Any information on the clubs, get in touch with Snooker Club, Snooker Hub UK. It's always a good place to look at. I hope you got something out of this in the end, guys. Some food for thought about clubs you want to play in, or even club managers or club owners.